Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing another coin flip battle, and this time it will be the 1960 presidential election, which of course John F. Kennedy narrowly won against Nixon, and it was definitely narrow in the popular vote, and it was pretty narrow in the electoral college as well. And like I said, this is going to be a coin flip battle, and as you see, there is a third one, Robert Byrd. He did win some electoral votes, I believe, in Mississippi and Alabama. But since this is a coin flip battle, it's just going to have to be the two, which is Kennedy and Nixon, the main two candidates who did win the most electoral votes, a Republican and Democrat, and Byrd was a Dixiecrat, who got some electoral votes from southern states as a protest vote. And so, like I said, this will just be between Kennedy and Nixon. You'll see Byrd's name at the top there, but he won't be a factor in this. Like I said, it'll just be between the main two, Kennedy and Nixon, and we'll see who gets the win. So we're going to get into it here, and let me get my coin up here. So let me get that on his there. I'm trying to fix it to get on his. It started off. It's not cooperating. Come on now. Alright, there we go. So now I got it on his. I should have gotten it up before I started the video and I forgot. But anyway, Kennedy is going to be heads in this one since he won the actual election, and Nixon's going to be tails. So let's flip and see who gets the first state, which is going to be Alaska. And it's going to be John F. Kennedy. Next state is Hawaii. Let's see who gets the 3 votes out of that. I will also go for Kennedy. Next one is Washington. Kennedy, so he starts off with 3 in a row. Next is Oregon. And that's going to go for Richard Nixon. Next is his home state of California. Let's see if Nixon can take it. And he will not, so Kennedy takes California. Next is the state of Montana, here in the Mountain West. That's going to go for Nixon. Next is Idaho. That's also going to go for Richard Nixon. Next is Wyoming. And I'll go for Nixon as well. Next is the state of Nevada. That's going to go for Kennedy, as it did in real life. Next is the state of Utah. That's going to go for Kennedy as well. Next is Colorado. It's going to go for Kennedy. Next is Arizona. Kennedy doing well so far. And speaking of him, we will take Arizona. Next is New Mexico. That's going to go for Kennedy as well, so doing very well with 68 electoral votes. Nixon only has 17. Next is North Dakota. That's going to go for Nixon, doing very well in these plains and Midwestern, Mountain West states. Let's see who takes South Dakota. That's going to go for Kennedy. Next is Nebraska. It's going to go for Nixon. Next is Kansas. It's going to go for Kennedy. Next is the state of Oklahoma. It's going to go for Kennedy as well. Next is Texas. That was Lyndon B. Johnson's home state. Well, however, go for Richard Nixon, so interesting there. Next is the state of Minnesota. That's going to go for John F. Kennedy. Next is Iowa. And that's going to go for Kennedy too. Next is the state of Missouri. I will go for John F. Kennedy as well. Next is Arkansas. That's going to go for Nixon, so he finally gets him another state. Next is Louisiana. That will go for Nixon as well, so doing well in these deep southern states. Next is Wisconsin. I will go for Nixon as well, and I believe he won that state in real life, so he went to here too. And next is Michigan. Let's see if Nixon can sweep. And he will not. Kennedy takes Michigan. Next is the state of Illinois. That's going to go for Nixon. Next is the state of Indiana. That's going to go for Kennedy. Next is Ohio, a state that Nixon won in real life. And he will take it here as well. So Nixon's keeping it relatively close. And next is the state of Kentucky. I will go for John F. Kennedy, doing well in these Appalachian states. Next is Tennessee. I will go for Nixon. Next is the state of Mississippi. Nixon's still doing well in these southern states. However, Mississippi will go for Kennedy. And next is Alabama. That's going to go for Nixon. And remember, Mississippi and Alabama's electoral votes, they go to Robert Byrd in real life. Or Harry F. Byrd. I'm pretty sure it was Harry F. Byrd, but they have Robert Byrd, but I think they meant to put Harry F. But anyway, Kennedy and Nixon split the states that Byrd got electoral votes from. Next is the state of Florida. Let's say he gets a big chunk of votes. And it's going to go for Nixon, although it is only 10 electoral votes, so it's not really that big of a chunk as it would be today. But nonetheless, he gets it. Next is Georgia, which has 12 electoral votes. That's going to go for Nixon as well, keeping up his southern state wins besides Mississippi. Next is South Carolina. That's going to go for Kennedy. Next is North Carolina. Let's see if he can sweep. And he will. Next is the state of Virginia. That's going to go for Richard Nixon. Next is Washington, D.C. And Nixon will get the District of Columbia. Okay. Although I actually forgot, D.C. didn't give electoral votes around this time. I forgot all about that, honestly. So, I wonder if I should just give him West Virginia since I already flipped, or if I should just do it again. Since I messed up there, I'm going to do it again. I'm actually going to go to Maryland next. So what I'll do is I'll give Nixon Maryland, since D.C., I forgot, wasn't doing electoral votes at this time. So I'll give Nixon Maryland since I already flipped. But moving on, the next one is Delaware. Let's see who wins there. I will go for Nixon as well. Next is the state of New Jersey. That's going to go for Kennedy. Next is Connecticut. I will go for Kennedy as well. And next is the state of Massachusetts, Kennedy's home state. Let's see if he can take it. He will not. So Nixon denies Kennedy in his home state. Next is New Hampshire. Let's see if Kennedy can rebound. And he will not. Nixon takes that as well. Next is Vermont. Let's see if Nixon can sweep both of them. And he will not. Kennedy takes Vermont. Next is the state of New York. That's going to go for Nixon. So all of a sudden, Nixon is now only 4 electoral votes away, I believe, from getting the victory. So just like that, Nixon made a comeback after Kennedy was dominating in the West over here at first, and Nixon has mounted a comeback here in the Northeast and southern states and some of these Rust Belt states. And next is the state of Maine. This would put Nixon over the top if he wins it. And he does not, so Kennedy hangs on for now as he takes Maine's 5 electoral votes. Next is the state of West Virginia. This would also put Nixon over the top, and he will win it. So Nixon wins. But the last state is Pennsylvania. Let's see if Nixon can add on to his victory, if Kennedy will get it. And it will go for Nixon. So Nixon gets the victory, 306 to Kennedy's 227. So pretty solid victory. It kind of looks like a 2016 margin. I believe this was the 2016 electoral, well, not the map, not the states itself, but I believe this was the electoral count in 2016 when Trump got 306 and Hillary got 227 or somewhere near that. So pretty similar to the 2016 count, just with a different map. And like I said, Nixon takes it. It looked like Kennedy was cruising to victory at first when he was doing very well in these western states. But then Nixon mounted a comeback in some of the plain states and the southern states mostly, and got quite a few northeastern states. And I just realized I forgot Rhode Island. I don't know how. But anyway, let's get that. I'm sorry, Rhode Island. I forgot you. And I will go for Kennedy. So now, the total is Nixon 306, Kennedy 201. I felt bad that I forgot Rhode Island. There's such a small state that I forgot it was right there next to Maryland. They're on the map, on this part at least. It's actually next to Connecticut on actual geographical map. So anyway, there's the map. Nixon 306, Kennedy 231. Thanks for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. It was good to do another one of these, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, hit the bell if you're new, and I'll see you next time.